nation's slogan was clear.
Just say no.
Crack now has spread to almost every American city.
I will tell you, Director Deutsch, as a former Los Angeles police narcotics detective, that the agency has dealt drugs throughout this country for a long time.
This week, Colorado gangs. House Bill 1335 would fund a war on gangs to the tune of $2.3 million.
They called it a war on drugs. But if you grew up in Ground Zero like me, it felt more like a war on us. It's no secret that we were targets. But after 20 years of being in the film industry, I'm going back to where it all started, to document the people in my community who survived the crack and gang epidemic of the 80s and 90s, to create a new blueprint for the future. We would travel from city to city to hear stories of success and redemption. This is Products of the Plan. Episode 2, The Backstory.
Talk a little bit about where you grew up and how you grew up.
Okay. Well, I grew up on 26th and Elm, 2655. They called it Nightmare on Elm Street, you know? We were one of the hubs of like the big gang activity and everything that was going on. There was often like newspaper articles that came out about our block that there were like 5 crack houses on one block. You know, like we were the center of it all, you know, like my brothers got involved in the gangs, my brother and cousin, my uncles and mom, they all got involved in crack. So they were the victims of this thing that came into the community. So by the time I'm like at the age of memories, they were already caught up, you know? So I was born right into the trauma that they were already going through. I have a wonderful grandmother, Frances G. Zuniga. She saved me, you know, between her and my brother, you know. My brother, he made sure that I wasn't about to go down any of those paths. You know, he wasn't having it. You know, like I could not be a bloodhead, okay? Like it wasn't happening. But my grandmother, she was just so strong and she raised so many children and I seen all the pain they put her through. So I always made sure that I didn't add on to that. Like I always had to do something different. But if one thing I will say is, and I say this all the time, TV saved my life. Well, the Bloods are getting put on or quoted in my backyard, and my uncles are looking for dope on the floor, or my mom's fiend out or whatever. I would lock myself in my room and I would become immersed in television and I would escape. I would go somewhere else, and it allowed me to not be confined to where I was at. You know, it allowed me to travel without leaving my room.
Wow.
So,
What year time period was this?
This is like early 90s. Like I'd say like 89 to probably about 94, 95, you know.
And so your world is shaped and you're like in a cocoon of media.
Absolutely.
You know, which is showing you something different than the reality that you're being surrounded with.
Yep, and then poetry. I started to write poems about what I was observing. You know, all of my early poems, if you go back, even with Slam Nuba, it's all about, you know, my brothers and cousins and trying, you know, just, I knew that they were victims of something bigger than them because I knew their hearts. I knew who they were, you know, outside of being high or outside of being in the streets fighting and all that stuff. I knew who they were, and I knew that something was attacking them that they had no control over. I always say, and I always feel that like that generation was an experiment, you know, like they experimented on them. Nobody knew what crack was gonna do. Nobody knew what gangs were gonna do when they came in. So that was the first generation to go through it. So I got to witness their downfall in order to not go down those same paths. Like there's no way I would have put myself in those positions because I seen the results of it. It didn't look fun to me, you know?
Early 90s, your older siblings are in the middle of it and you're a younger sibling looking at the world that has already been shaped.
Absolutely.
And then I'm on the other end looking at a world that is going out and a world that is coming in. And now today in 2025, we get to connect some dots.
Exactly.
And make some assessments.
Yep.
And I really like how you use the word victims.
Yep.
Because we're talking about 14-year-olds, 12-year-olds. We're talking about 16-year-olds or whatever, that young formative age where your environment really shapes you. You're not shaping your environment. It's really being developed for you, without you. And you're either in it or out of it.
Yep.
I think sometimes you can get so caught up in getting out of one matrix and find yourself in a whole nother. And so I think that that's where I'm at now, in a matrix with the work. And it's not bad though. It's just now maneuvering through it. You know what I'm saying? Right. So now, instead of being so direct, it's more like having more self-control, and not like don't just say something just because you care, but you gotta kind of peep out people's demeanor, how they moving, how they answer is. Yes.
Is it hard for you? Like when you was in prison, we knew, I sometimes would pull away. I'd talk to somebody and you kind of roll away like, I'm not on that way. And then you started sort of more comfortable with it. Do you have the same transition phase out here, or is it different?
No, I'm still like that. I still don't want to talk. You know what I'm saying? But that's for my boy. I will, but I'm more of I'm a close.
Okay.
So like you would be more, I would consider an opener. Like you'll talk to people, you know what I'm saying? And then I might not say nothing for a while, but I know that I'll have something to offer, and I'll say something.
Yeah.
And then after that, it'll be, you know what I'm saying, more like
the open forum at that point.
Yeah, but I'm not an opener at all.
Wait, does that translate into your personal life? Like, so say you start a business, right? How does that help you or does that hinder you?
It hinders you. So we're gonna call this brutal honesty, like hinders you. That's why I don't have a business. So, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. For real. Like I got the green chili and stuff, but like I did it. I didn't like it, but then it's like more tweaking it, cause I just want to play the background.
Yeah, you always want. Yeah,
I'd just rather do that. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to be out there, because I'm just not a people person. And then I feel like it's a stigma that I created too, in this small.
By city, of your whole city, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's still a stigma. Like everyone know each other. When I look on the Instagram and stuff, I know someone out of a circle of people. We have at least one. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's real.
And so, and I don't have a good. Everything ain't a good story about me. You know what I'm saying? So that just so then that makes me not want to be caught to people like that.
So listen to this. So remember when I called you from prison and we were talking about you getting enrolled over at Metro, right? CCD. And you said there was a time that I remember you saying there vividly, and it actually sparked something in you, right? And it helped me actually in prison. You said, bro, I'm gonna keep it real. He said, I need you out here because these people, I don't know what to think. I want you to come out here so that we can team up on some stuff. I was like, well, and he was like, hell yeah, because the way I am now don't fit in the way I used to, because when I used to live the lifestyle I used to live, I was at the top of the food chain because I'm with where everybody else is with. But now I'm on this positive side, and you was fresh out probably but like a year or something when you probably said that. And so the transition between being able to not only be in society but perform on a high level in society is the thing that we're trying to teach these other young guys that they can do as well. Yeah. Do you feel that where you're at now that you can perform on a high level living out here in society?
Definitely now. That mentality wise, yeah. Just because I'm going through it from the very bottom level. So it's the experience, you know what I'm saying? So I remember that conversation that we had about that. And I always had that, like, for number one, 2 is better than 1. Like business with certain things, especially when people are on the same playing on the same, you know what I'm saying, playing field, then we gonna always do better. You know what I'm saying? I got a bunch of ideas, a bunch of things in my head, but I know that I can't do it alone. Okay. It just ain't gonna work. You know what I'm saying? Because I know that you can't possibly be 100 at everything. You know what I'm saying? So you need people who is 100 at things. Yeah. And so, and then when we had that conversation, I'm lukewarm still, though. Don't get it twisted. But you know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm just going to school now. You know what I'm saying? But so I'm trying to transition, but in reality, mentally, I'm not because I'm still someone in my neighborhood. And that side though, so it's almost like a facade that you got to keep up. You know what I'm saying? It's a mask. In my definition of it is more of that's a gangster though. You know what I'm saying? Because you could be a gang member and not be with nothing at all.
Absolutely.
But a gangster is the ones that in my book is I could do some of the majorest crazy things out here, and then I'll be at church on Sunday. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's some gangster stuff to me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so that's the mask, that's the image, whatever you want to call it. And so that's what I was on then. You know what I'm saying? Now I just completely you know what I'm saying? I don't really care about the facade of that no more. Cause I was successful in it. Yeah. I was 100% successful in it and left out of it with nothing.
Damn. That's a good word, bro. Yeah. That's a good word. Hey, there he is. Hey, thank you very much.
Yeah, no worries. Appreciate it. Have a good day, guys.
One of these.
It changed. Like I was hurt. That was my first heartbreak. No, not to. It was hot.
Your block was super hot.
Super hot, right?
You had that block to where it's like, hey, I'm gonna walk around that block.
Nah, I didn't have a choice. Like I had to get home.
Yeah.
So it was like we played in bullets, like literally. Like Ivanhoe, 32nd Ivanhoe was like the park, Skyland Park. Like I said, it went from wholesome to zombie land.
Because y'all was on that side.
We were right there. Like it's crazy. And you can ask anybody I'm talking about, like Chance, Rico, Rob, Quincy. Those were my guys. Yeah. So I was tough. Mike Robinson, like I was tough on them because I didn't want to lose them, you know? But when I got older, when I started having kids, I had my first child at 20, like I called them like crying, like because I knew I was tough, but they, you know, I didn't know I could love on them at the time with the climate of the neighborhood. I didn't know I could love on them and still make them tough. I didn't know I could say, hey man, cry, get it out, get back, get your chest up. I didn't know that. So you had to be away. Like if you weren't, you was gonna be, it was like jail. It was like gladiator school for a minute. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The drugs were so bad at that time, and especially with you living on 32nd and Ivanhoe, you was right there in the thick of it all, right?
In the thick.
But it's crazy how amidst all of that madness, right, it was controlled chaos. And when I say it was controlled chaos, is because you can have crackheads,
for
bloods,
a short time,
whatever going on that south side of Skyland by your house, right? But then if the pirates were out there, it was a dividing line. I was scared of being quoted. I was scared of being sweated growing up. If you had blue on in them days in park, like somebody was going to say something to you, right?
I could wear blue.
And yeah, I could, you know, I was terrified. So, but it just had this weird, it was this weird balance. And every once in a while they get out of balance. But I never heard the cats that's like in my dad's range, or them cats that was hanging out at Scipio's, hanging out at Horizon, running into some young blood, but disrespecting them, and it'd be this issue.
No.
Everybody just, am I tripping when I say that? Everybody just got along.
Yeah.
But then every once in a while you see shootings, fightings, but it never intermixed. Every once in a while it may intermix, but where it felt like the kids.
For me, Off of 32nd and Ivanhoe, it always nicks.
Yeah, but this was a situation where the guys in the neighborhood protected us.
For sure.
So if it was 90, that was maybe 92, 91,
Mm-hmm.
I would have no problem dropping my son off at 7 years old, knowing that Courtney was going to look out for him, Harry was going to look out for him, Coach Herman was going to look out for him. You know what I mean? Mr. Houston. Like, these are people that we grew up with around that rec center. Levert.
Oh, Levert.
Levert to see my son today and to tell me if he was out of pocket or not. But I knew that these people were going to help cultivate a positive experience for my son while he was down there at the rec center, regardless if I'm there or not.
So Junior's food store.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, I thought that should have been a whole sitcom.
Yeah.
Junior's food store was off the chain.
Yeah.
What's crazy about that is like Junior Junebug. Like I just remember my bus stop was on at Junior's.
Yeah.
The bus stop for Hill Middle School.
Yeah.
Was at Junior's.
Yeah.
So we would go to Junior's, and you know, back then Junior's, you could go buy cigarettes,
tapes.
You could get whatever
you wanted.
You know. So we would wait. We would get get into the store, you know, because it'd be cold outside, and we wait. And soon as somebody would look and see that bus, they'd be like, "The bus is coming." Everybody,
yeah, go, yeah.
Every day though,
yeah.
Every day,
yeah.
Junior wouldn't be like, "Nah, you can't come, you can't come." He'd just be like, "Oh, bro, man,
yeah.
bro, man, we be out."
Or Jason. Me, Moms, and Jason, or me, Moms, and Dub, I think it was Dub, went to the movies to see Boys in the Hood. We was at the $1.50 movie over there on 6th. And I remember we came out, first of all, bam, movie, we came out and they started tripping. And remember, shoot, we was only what, 6th grade maybe? I was in like maybe 6th grade. So seeing that movie and then coming out, and they really tripping, they shooting up the parking lot, we ducking, Moms is ducking, you know what I'm saying? Like those type of instances shaped me like, I don't even want to be involved in no shit. Like, I don't want to get shot. I'm 11, 12 years old, you know what I'm saying? So I think situations like that also, you know what I'm saying, helped me. But I remember that vividly though. Like,
so when you talk about that movie, something that has kind of come up as we've been talking to different people is the influence of the movies and the music, you know, especially us being in Denver, you know, like we know that the gangs came from the West and they migrated to us. Like, what kind of role do you think that media has played at that time, you know, in our evolution of gangs and violence?
Well, I think media plays a role regardless. It's just about that's the cool part. Even the media, the music, it all plays a role. You know what I'm saying? But it's also it's more to that though, because we all have the same media, we watch the same media, we listen to the same music. But what else is happening behind the scenes? Again, that's where I went back to. All that was going on, but it wasn't in my home.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't go home to that. So whereas, you know, my homie we watching the same stuff, same movies, same music, but he going home, his brothers is banging.
Exactly, like
so
me.
It's, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's full time. It's the pressure's on. You know what I mean? But I think media plays a role for sure.
Yeah,
sure. Media plays a role for sure.
So like, did that have any influence on how you are as a DJ? Like, do you play certain things for certain parties? Like, you know, just to, cause you create the mood, you create the vibe.
I do, you know? But so I also know some of the stuff I play is poison too. So I'll be on the fence a lot of times. I'll be on the fence. Like, what am I like? I'm playing this, they reacting to it, You know what I'm saying? But I damn near have to play it because that's my job. So I'll be on the fence. I'll be stuck. So, you know, a lot of the time, I mean, well, the older I get, you know, it's like, man, some stuff I just won't do.
Yeah.
If I don't want to do it.
No, for real.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I catch myself feeling like that with the film industry, you know, like I work on all these reality shows, like, you know, and it just feels like I'm just feeding into the negativity that, you know, my daughters will eventually see, you know. And I've been in, like I was just saying in the last interview, God keeps giving me this word ordained, you know, like you're ordained to use your talent and your craft and your skills for the better, to heal, to help, you know what I'm saying? And I think like we're all going through that shift now, like.
Still to come on Products of the Plan.
I mean, even before I got shot, I was kind of a little fast because the gangs and stuff was already came to my neighborhood. But I was 14 when I got shot, and then after 14 and after I got shot, that's when it like magnified for me.
Mike telling me like you don't want to end up in this position in a wheelchair. Like I listened to those things. Like I spent so much time with Mike when I was on Elm before we had to move. Like so much time I wanted to be like him. Movement, like I would sometimes be in his wheelchair like him. It was just some of the things that you looked up to, because although like what people would deem bad, like he was giving us guidance that we wasn't giving in the household, and like real shit. And he wasn't even that old, right? But but some things you just don't heal from.
This is the greatest story I've ever heard.
Right.
This guy's gonna get out because I know he's innocent. And by the way, 2 years later, I can confirm that I know who did the crime that Kevin is in prison for, right? I know because, and the police know, because they had the other suspect. They just never investigated him. Right? They never put 2 and 2 together. So now I'm saying, I'm waving the flag like an idiot, raising the flag, getting Kim Kardashian to join the crusade, creating an 8-part series on Spotify. Kevin still sits in prison.
Oh my God.
Coming to you in your garage, you editing, you know, I'm like, okay, well, she's got her little act together, you know, let's see what's going on here. And then your poetry is so impactful that I was so inspired by that, being an artist myself, you know, that, you know, a little bit of writing, but nothing as powerful as you. That inspired me as well too. Just being around people your age, being around your generation and the generation after that.
I thank God for that platform that you were given in film school, because even the poetry that you had, it sparked the interest in poetry for me at a young age. And that's kind of how I wanted to start off this interview, is a poetry that I wrote in prison. Because, you know, I did 4 years and 3 months in an Oklahoma State penitentiary.
Oh my God.
So I don't know if you know that.
I didn't know like how long. I didn't know how long. Like I have all those questions, but please, I would love.
I thought it was in here, but it's not. I have some other like excerpts from like just me being in prison, but I know the poem by heart, so I'll just kind of say it.
Okay.
Stop telling me I can't tell a man how to be a man. If I'm not a man, how can I understand what a man goes through? Because I have a big brother on lockdown, and every day I walk his shoes. I now take on the task that he once had to do, and before I walked his shoes, I was his shadow, a silent soldier in all his battles. I watched his progression from a to a man firsthand, and if he could do it, I know all these others can. I want to save addicts from themselves, teach them how to value their health. So stop telling me because I've never been on crack, I can't tell a crack addict how to act. Because I have a mother, and throughout my childhood, crack wouldn't let me love her because I couldn't help her. And I felt helpless, so in turn, I helped less. But the monkey on my back was filled with her stress, and the one thing that I can't stand is that I had to watch my hero fall for defeat firsthand. I plan to save the children at the ghetto, so stop telling me it's too hard, because they are the new generation of me. And I know how easily they can be influenced by what they see, and some of them only know the negativity in the streets. Those are the ones I have to reach. Teach them. Failure is not an option. Show them firsthand how I prevailed. Prove all the people wrong that said they too were derailed. They can ride with me on the road to success, and they will accept only victory because they know We are too blessed to accept anything less. I'm Jay Harris, y'all.